Welcome to PNW Prop Stars, the only Seahawks-only gambling show in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner. Come on out and find me on Twitter at Clinton Bon. And today, it's just me, mano y mano, with the man from Montana himself, the Rainmaker, money man from Montana, Mr. Adam Emmerich. The good news is, Adam, we got the youngins' bets. We don't got the youngin today. So what do you want to tell? What do you want to tell the Princetonian for missing out on this recording? While I'm on the road, you're in the shack, you're at home, and yet the Princetonian is not with us today.
Yeah, couldn't be bothered to show up this morning. I don't know if he, drank himself into a stupor, or if he has homework to do, or if maybe he's actually doing something legitimate. Like, I don't know, covering something for school as a journalist. But I'm going to go with just hungover and irresponsible. And look, I have all sorts of stuff I'd say to him, but he was too afraid to show his face on the show this week. And so he doesn't get all the digs. He doesn't get them.
Love it. All right. So, hey, Wilson could not join us today. There is an excuse why, and it's not just an excuse, but he will be back next week. He says hello. I've got his bets. This is PNW Prop Stars. So we're going to get into these luscious, Seahawks versus Panthers bets. This is another fun week. I mean, I listened to the flagship show going in from the previous week. It's still, I don't know about you, Adam, I'm still on the bit nervous train because I don't know what our team is, except for the fact that I do think we're going to score points. And I don't think we're going to stop points from being scored. It's a little foreshadowing. But before we get into our bets for the week and all that, what's your vibes going into this game versus these Panthers?
Yeah, I think this is going to be more of a struggle than it should be. And it's going to be very frustrating. And a team that is committed to running the football, has been running the football since Wilkes took over. Their two-headed monster, Foreman and Hubbard, is, fairly decent. Their offensive line is pretty decent. And then Sam Darnold actually played himself a pretty good game last week against a good defense in the Denver Broncos. So I think these Panthers are going to present a little bit more of a challenge than you would like. And it's going to be a very annoying game.
Yeah, I happen to agree. Darnold has played, it's just like better. That's what it is, like a level up, certainly from PJ Walker, and then what Baker was giving them. And then all of a sudden, you get a little bit better quarterback, and then, oh, look, DJ Moore shows back up. It's like,
right.
It's not like he got bad. He's been really good for a number of years with kind of crappy quarterbacks, like in and out. And then the quarterbacking gets a little bit better, and then he's blowing up again because he's a really good wide receiver. So it'll be interesting. They are going to pound the ball, so I'm sure we'll get into all that as well. We do want to remind folks that this is just one of 5 unique shows that comes out on the Seahawkers podcast. So youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast. Also, wherever you got ears to get the audio, shp.show, whatever it is, Spotify, Apple, Google, you name it, you'll find it. In fact, you don't even have to remember the name of the show. You can, because it's Seahawkers podcast. But if you just Google Seahawks podcast, guess what? You're going to see the awesome emblem. It'll be on page 1 because it's, it deserves to be on page 1. As I'll leave it at that. We love all the contributions. We love all the folks from the flock. We love all the super chats, of course, coming into the Patreon and supporting the show at gettingtheflock.com. Every little bit helps as we march towards Jan 1. Adam, how are you feeling? Are you still Thelma and Louising over the cliff and still going, this is it? We're Jan 1. I'm just focusing on this. And where are you with that life bet?
Yeah, no, it's happening.
Nice.
One way or the other. This is happening, but I am going to take 2 jobs right out of the gate after the first, just because they're ones that, the people that we usually work with wanted to see my face and just be introduced to the boys. So going to go on those 2, but then, yeah, it's going on here and it's happening, and I've got some irons in the fire, and it's going to be fun. But thanks to you guys, man, and all your guys' efforts, it's helping make it possible. So
yeah, no, it's super cool. Like just the different YouTube comments and hearing different folks like, hey, loving all the content this year. And that's what it's great. We took a little gamble, rolled the dice to say, hey, we're gonna ramp it up this year and do it a little differently. And it's just the momentum's there. It's been a fun season, and really because of all the listeners and folks contributing, which is just a ton of fun. This is a brand new show this year, but now we're into week 14 of it with the bye week included, and it's been cool. Like, I think one of the more rewarding things about this show is folks being like, I didn't think I'd like this. However, I listen every week now because I think it's a cool way to look at the show. So, which is a little validating that it was a cool idea. All right. Another cool idea is for me to share this because, lo and behold,
is it cool, Clinton?
Very cool.
It doesn't look cool. This looks like a typo. Something's very wrong here.
No, this is actually exactly right. The math, I've done the math. I knew the assignment. And week 16, Seahawks at LA Rams, 2 for 2 for us in SoFi Stadium. And the crown, for the second time, which is not a lot, for the second time of the year, shifts back over to me. Hey, the one that I was, the Walker one I got lucky on, and that's not Seahawks luck. That's like, oh, catfish! After a 30-yard run, I was like, this is going to be a terrible bet. And then he gets hurt. So I almost wish I didn't win that one, but I did. But the Fant one, that one, I smash pot all day long. And if we stopped deferring the freaking ball, I would have won the third one too. But we defer the ball, and this is not the team to do that with. But I'll take the crown. A nice little day. 2 out of 3 on the regular bets ain't bad. The Fail Mary didn't really come close. But how about you? You hit your Fant bet. So we were 2 for 2 on our tight end bet. But which one of the ones that missed for you were you most, a little head scratching about?
Well, yeah. Well, first, congratulations on the rare crown week for you. That must feel good. I've gotten very used to it, so it doesn't affect me maybe as much as it does you emotionally. But out of all my bets, the one that I'm kind of the most angry about is the 3 unanswered scores bet, because my gut told me that wasn't going to happen, but the number said that it would, right?
It wasn't close, right? It was like,
it wasn't close.
It was like a volley. It was like, they score, we score, they score, we score. I think it went that way the entire way through when I checked it.
And how often do the Seahawks rattle off 3 unanswered? Not very often. How often do they get down, 3 scores like that? Not very often. It just doesn't happen. Like, I should have known better. It wasn't for this team. So I'm a little disappointed with myself on that one. I'm also, just disappointed in the defense overall. And it shaped my bets for this week. Let me put it that way. I don't know about you, though.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing. It's like, and we try not to, overreact to 1 week, one way or the other. However, I do myself. It's like, it does shape it. And it's like the recency of that scar, something not hitting, does tend to kind of overweigh in the brain. It's like, and then I try to step back and remove it and be like, well, what about the Panthers? Like, this ain't the Rams, even though they were beat up and all that jazz. What can we find in these nooks and crannies, because it's the Panthers, and how are they showing out? But it does weigh on you. It does weigh on me. But I'm happy to take the crown. I'm happy to weigh in. And because of that, I do get to go first. It is honors. So as we look at this, let us dive right into this week, reminding the folks out there that we do 3 bets, bet 1, bet 2. Yeah, we do. Bet 1, bet 2, bet 3 are $10 bets each. And then we have a Fail Mary bet that is a $1 scratcher, AKA the Sunday rubber, AKA the Fail Mary, or not even AKA, that's the name, the Fail Mary, but it has to be plus 1,200 or longer odds for it to qualify to be the Fail Mary. So $31 total. In homage of Bam Bam Cam Chancellor, who I guess showed up this week at practice again, which always welcome, always like, come and hang out, Love that dude. All right. So I looked at this, and I think in general, I think my theme is there will be points. I really think there will be. And to have some points, my first bet out of the gate, I've got Geno Smith over 259.5 passing yards at minus 115. And I'll lay a little logic at your feet here, Adam. Number one, 7 out of 12 times Geno has hit that. So that feels pretty good. And he's done it 4 in a row. So now 4 in a row does not mean a guarantee of a 5th in a row. That's not how things work. But 7 out of 12 and 4 out of the last 4, I think the team is heading into that 2012 mentality of, we can score a lot when we want to. We went on that kind of like 50 burger run back in 2012. Different team. We don't have that defense, but I feel similarly that the team's like, all right, we're going to have to ride with Geno, and 260 or so doesn't feel that difficult for me to get there. Only paying 115. I like betting on Geno for my first down bet. What do you say?
Yeah, I could understand why you would bet that for a couple reasons. One, Geno has been on a tear. Two, uh, the run game has been kind of non-existent for the
Right.
Seahawks over the past couple of weeks. And also now with Walker and DJ being questionable, if we see Walker, I'm going to be surprised.
Mm,
I think DJ will probably play, but I think you're going to see a lot of Travis Homer in this game, which is fine in this situation.
agree.
But with that said, they're going to lean a little bit more on Geno. Now, what gives me pause is that I do think it's going to be difficult for the Seahawks defense to get off the field. And the way the Carolina offense is built, it's going to be long chug kind of drives that just eat up clock. And so Geno just may not have the ball in his hands enough by the end of the game to get to that, 260 yards, et cetera. That'd be the one thing that would give me pause.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I'm hopeful that we come out and we attempt to motorboat this team and say, keep up with us. Because I think
Right.
that's what we should do. I believe we should just go out, put the pressure on them, and then say, okay, listen, Sam Darnold, you're going to have to throw the ball. That would be fun. And he could swing it a little bit, but I'd rather see that than getting cut to death by Foreman, because I think he's a pretty damn good back, and we've struggled to stop the friggin' run. So, all right, so that'd be my first down, but let's swing it to you, and I've got Wilson's right here. What is actually no? We go to Wilson because of the age, then back around to you. So, Wilson is starting easy squeezy here. He's got Seahawks -4 at -105. So he's just taking the Hawks to win, cover the spread by a smidgen, and he's out of the gate with a pretty simple bet. Any quick reaction to Seahawks just basically covering the spread?
I think this is going to be a tight game. And so if it were 2.5, I'd be like, yeah, go for it. Just because I think this could end up just being a field goal win for the Seahawks. So that was the one thing that kept me away from that. It's like, am I sure it's going to be a touchdown difference here in this game? I don't know. I don't know. I didn't feel super comfortable with it.
Yeah, okay. I've got a little stat later that I'll share on that one, but I'll hold it in reserve. Let's get to your first down bets and take it away, man.
All right, man. This running defense for the Seahawks is one of the more maddening things that I've watched as a fan in a good long while.
Frustrating.
And it makes me so angry. And they really did hurt me this last week with the defense playing so poorly. And so with that in mind, I'm going to make this bad defense work for me. I'm going to bet against this craptastic rush defense. So I found Foreman's alternate rush yards, 75 plus. So he's just got to get 76 yards or more. And that is plus 130. I think that's almost lock, because if you look at it, if Foreman gets his touches of somewhere in that 18 to 30 range, as long as he's above about 17, 18 touches, he's over 100 yards. That's how he's been the last 4 or 5 weeks. And the weeks that he hasn't, it's because he hasn't gotten very many touches. And I just don't think that this defense is going to get off the field consistently on third down. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities, and they're going to lean heavily into that run.
I think the logic is there. I actually think the opposite's going to happen in this, and for two reasons. Number one, the Rams running backs didn't run the ball particularly well. It wasn't the running backs. It was the wide receivers, and it was the quarterbacks. Didn't quite, because Perkins had a run. He had one play, and he moved the chains with his feet. Yeah. Go figure. It was by the way, that was like the most obvious thing. It's like, oh, it's 3rd and 5. The dude who's really good at running.
He's just taking it. Oh, wow.
He
what a
booted it.
like,
nobody's there. It's like, I'm like, come on. Like, what do you think he's going to call? Anyway, that was frustrating. With that though, there is a lot of discussion out there and a lot of stuff on tape, like how Seattle comes out for their run fits. And do they have the 3-4 with the three defensive linemen, and then you got your basically your linebacker, your defensive ends on the outside there? Or do you just go back to that 4-3, which has been Carroll's bread and butter? That's what KJ Wright was talking about on his show. That's what the Seattle Overload guys talk about all the time. And when they do that, I watched a really good video that the credit where due, like you said it nicely, like Matty F. Brown, they just talk football differently than you and I do. And they do have a video show now. So it's like, okay, you compare the words with what you're seeing on film. And I was like, okay, so some of the things started to just visually click. It's a hell of a lot easier to understand it. And I suspect we'll come out with the 4-3 and not the 3-4. And the fits are just more designed to get the linebackers to the gaps they're supposed to get to so they can clean things up. And one thing I'll say about that too is like the Cody Barton hate is misplaced. It simply is. Like he has been a much more consistent linebacker than Brooks has, and it's on film. So just, so I don't think this one
really
hits. Oh yeah, I'm serious.
I'm pretty sure I could make a cut up that proves the exact opposite of that one.
What the hell? Hold on one second.
Yeah, housekeeping.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm in here still till 12. Thank you. All right. So I welcome you to go watch it, but also I welcome you to cut it up. Let's see. But I just think it's misplaced. So I don't think that hits. However, at 130, it's a cool, it's an interesting first down bet. All right, let us get on over to Wilson now. We'll go second, which means I will read this off of my phone. He's leaning in big to Geno Smith as well. So we're on the same hype train here. But Wilson, he's going a little bigger. He's got Geno Smith to go over 300 yards passing and taking the plus 190. So he's saying we're going big and we're at home. So Geno over 300 plus 190. You didn't love when I was over 260. So I'm assuming you're not loving Geno over 300.
I mean, it's totally possible. It's just, I think the Panthers are going to have the ball a lot in this game, and it's going to be one of those Seahawks games where you're just like, man, if we could just get off the field on defense, we'd probably do all right. I think Geno's probably going to light it up in his opportunities, because really that is the best part of this football team. That is the core of this football team is Geno and the receivers. So I can understand the rationale and why you might want to do that. But
Wilson's not here, but there's our third right there, right? We got Ollie boy.
There's Ollie the mountain dog for you. Yeah. But I'm just a little nervous about a big offensive output from the Seahawks this game.
Gotcha. I mean, I'll be there live, so I'm hoping beyond hope that we do get it. We do get that, and we shall see. All right. So now let's see. So Wilson went. So you're up on your second down bet. Fire away, dude.
All right. I do think the Panthers are going to be able to get up and down the field more or less at will, like every other team in the NFL against the Seahawks defense, and especially on the ground. But because they're the Panthers and because they have such a terrible record, there's a reason. Yep. It's because they don't punch it in very well. So I could see them going down and kicking a lot of field goals. That's why this feels like money in the bank. This is a bet on the Seahawks defense keeping the Panthers out of the end zone. Eddie Pinheiro, Pinheiro, there it is.
Yep.
Yeah. Field goals made, 1.5, and that's plus 130. All he has to do is kick 2 field goals.
Ooh.
And I get plus odds.
I like it. I like that a lot. I like the logic that lays out there. You're right, because their record is what it is type thing, and it's and they will. We're still bendy but don't breaky, and we're okay in the red zone, but the Panthers are not great. That's you go up and down their scorecard, and you see games like 13-3 versus the Ravens. Like, well, what happened? Like, what the heck happened there? That's again the PJ Walker era before Darnold got back. But I like that bet, man. Getting 130 to get over 2 field goals. I will gladly root for that. In the sense that as long as it's not beating our team and Pinheiro gets that through for you, I'll be pulling for you mentally for that one. I think it's a pretty sound bet. And I like the logic. Very similarly, I went field goal points on this one as well. Myers over 6.5 points. Got to pay 130 to get it. However, again, looking at the numbers, I know they don't always but their trends and all that jazz. 9 out of 12 games this year, he has scored 7 or more points. 9 out of the last 10 games, he has scored 7 or more points. Okay. We are good-ish in the red zone, sometimes good, sometimes bad, like 50, I'd say probably better than the average bear, but we're not great in the end zone where it's just PATs. So however we get to 7 points, that's a couple field goals, 5 PATs in a field goal, however you slice it. At minus 130, I like this one probably the best of the week. So Myers just to get 7 points. He does it a lot, and I think he does it one more time.
I've come through on that bet at least once this year, if not
Yeah,
twice, right?
totally.
With
Yep.
total points scored by Myers. And there's a good reason to go with that, just because the Seahawks offense does
We
get
score.
the ball up and down the field. They
Yeah.
score a lot of points. So I like it. The only thing is that they may score like 3 touchdowns and a field goal in
Possible.
that
Very
case.
possible. Yep.
Then you're just a smidgen in having to give pay for that number. I don't know, man. That if you were on the plus side of things, I'd like it a little better.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, that'd be
Yeah.
nice too. Yeah, I understand. That's the scenario where the 3 touchdown, 1 field goal could cripple that. The nice part about the Seahawks in general, and I'm sure that will happen now that I'm saying this aloud, is that we don't chase the 2-point conversion too often. Well, first of all, Carroll's not going for 2 for dumb reasons, and then he doesn't chase I would say in haste if it's early. He's like, nope. We'll get back to yes, we could tie it, but let's get back to, let's say, down 1 and there's a quarter and a half to go. He doesn't go chasing waterfalls like other coaches do, like, oh, we got to tie it right now. It's like, that's stupid. No, you do. No, you do not. There's time.
Yeah.
So those things I think lend towards more field goal attempts, but I think overall we score a lot of points, and the stats on Myers prove it out that I think he's 4th in the NFL in total points this year. And I like leaning into that one and that bet there, but I understand that, of course we could always be bitten here. All right, but you are up on bet number 3. Did you go Wilson 300? Did you go Adam 5,000? What do you got, dude?
Yeah. Well, a few different things. Now, did Wilson have a second down bet? Did he have
yeah, well, he started, that was the Geno over 300 yards.
Oh, okay. I thought that was his first down bet. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. First down, he was just Seattle -4.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry. Now I'm keeping up here. This is an early morning pod.
We don't have him here. We got Ollie.
So
he's whispering sweet nothings into your ear, like trying to get
that's
other
exactly
bets
right.
in. So sweet boys do those things.
Can't exactly count on me to count to 2 at this hour. So anyhow, my third down bet is the Seattle point band of 21 to 30, and that's plus 135. And they have been in that point band. I want to say it's 5 out of the last 6 games or 4 out of the last 5 games. The only game that they weren't in that point band was against the Bucks in Germany in that weird week there. I think they end up right smack dab in the middle of that again. They seem to be a very consistent. Well, I guess they were over the 30 points against the Raiders, whatever it was. I looked it up, but that's kind of where they're at. It's 27 points week in, week out. That's a swipe from Wilson's bet last week that he hit on. So
that was the one. Yeah,
I'll take it.
And at plus 135, it's still what Vegas thinks is the most likely band, and still pays you pretty well, which is nice. I actually think we're going to score more points this game than that. However, it's still very likely that that's the range.
Even with that Carolina defensive line,
I do, and the reason I look back at the different Carolina games of recent, and the one that I think stood out to me the most was Cincinnati beat them 42-21. And I'm just trying to look at teams that are the most like our offense and can still be, which is just a gaze at it. So I think we actually get over 30. But I didn't bet. I had that on my board being oh, maybe I'll take this. I didn't go with a band myself, but I think we're actually going to get over 30, but I won't be shocked if we end up at 27, because that feels pretty good as well. All right. So now over for my third down bet. I think we're going to win this game. I think we're going to actually win this game going away a little bit down the stretch. So we shall see if this all comes true. I teased the amount of points. So Seattle giving 6.5. So win by a touchdown, and you're at plus 135. I totally get this could be. Last week I had the heebie-jeebies of this is going to be so freaking close. It's going to be so freaking close. This week I'm still it's going to be close until I just have this sense that we break it open later and we end up in a, a 7+ point victory, paying 135. And plus I'm going to be there. So the heart wants what the heart wants, Adam. I can't
Yeah.
fly all the way out there for
Yeah.
a freaking loss. I can't.
No, I hear you. I hear you. And I do think that it could be a slower start and a more fervored finish, I guess would be the way to put it. But, and there was another bet that I almost took for my third down bet. It was Seahawks money line at half and total score under 22.5. And it was like plus 250 or somewhere, 245. Because I do think that the first half will be a little low scoring. So I'm with you on that.
Well, I got to ask, what makes you think that, seeing as teams are, if we defer, teams are seemingly marching up and down and getting points. And if we get the ball, we're pretty high powered. So you just have is it a feeling, or is it based on something else?
It's more, I believe the Panthers are going to kick a fair amount of field goals. So one or two scores by the offense is fine. And then you give up 2 field goals and you're still there, right?
Yep.
And you're leading the game. I do think they'll be leading the game at half.
I hope so. Yeah, I do expect it to be quite tight at half. It usually is. And again, I'm hoping for a fourth quarter, big play, something, like whatever, big explosive for a touchdown. And we're like, ooh, we're up 9 and we're actually just celebrating, but we shall see. All right. So, Wilson, he bucks his own trend. He doesn't go with the Wilson 300 here or there, doesn't win. This week, he's back into the Wilson 300. He's going for the dude who's been going up all season long and grabbing hospital balls and coming down with a lot of them. Marquise Goodwin, anytime touchdown at plus 370. Okay. I give Goodwin a lot of freaking credit for stepping into a situation where it came out of nowhere. Obviously he's had a good NFL career, but I think a nice surprise to the upside that we have a average to legitimate wide receiver 3 option this year. And it only behooves, it makes it better for DK and Tyler and Fant as we're seeing it, but plus 370 to nab a touchdown. He's going pretty big on third down. What do you think of of Wilson's balls?
The Marquise Goodwin story is fantastic because of what a cool guy Goodwin is, and like what he's kind of been throughout his career, where his head's at and everything. And I love that part of the story. What I hate about the Goodwin part of the story is that means Eskridge has been a non-factor this year.
Yeah.
And that's a massive bummer right there. I do find it interesting though, that this week, even after Noah Fant paid out a bunch last week, all of us staying away from Noah Fant in this game and in any of his numbers.
They got jacked up a little bit, right? So
they did,
which is, they should have, because I thought last week at 26.5 and 2.5 receptions, I'm like, to me, we talked about that. I was like, both of them were like, I was contemplating both. I like the yards a little bit better. Smashed these in the 40s. And that I was like, and I even said, I was like, hey, if you have a chance to throttle him up and find an alt spread line and take him at 30 plus.
Yeah.
I was like, I think it's a home run. And he got 40 something yards, ends up with 4 receptions, easily gets over the 2.5 reception mark, but they just inched everything up this week. So his receiving yards that I saw was like over 30.5 or something like that, which again, he ought to do. But I'm kind of leaning on this will bleed into the Fail Mary here. In fact, I might as well just go with it. I think my Fail Mary, if I had to give it a title, is the stars come out at night. Like this is, and I know it's not nighttime, and I know how time works with all that stuff. It'll be cloudy and good weather, by the way, 43 degrees with no rain and extremely light wind. So pretty good football weather, very good football weather for December. It's like literally 2 or 3 miles per hour, which is, as you say, nothing, right? That's nothing on the field.
Yeah.
So which is really cool, which is why I kind of like Geno. All right. So with my Fail Mary, it does go into this idea that the stars come out at night. 5-way parlay, Seattle -3.5, which is the spread. So take that over 44.5. I think points will be had. Geno over 280 passing yards. Tyler over 80 receiving yards. DK over 75 receiving yards. So it's like, wow, this is the package of the dudes dude things, right?
Yeah.
We win the game, we celebrate. It's kind of like last week, essentially, with a little bit more of the spread happening there, and that gets me to exactly plus 1,200, which I always find poetic. I love, because that's the point. So Seattle minus 3.5, over 44.5, Geno over 280, Tyler over 80, DK over 75, and my $1 turns into $12 magically, and I take the crown. I retain the crown for a second. Yeah, and yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay.
How about let's do your Fail Mary, then we'll swing back to Wilson's, and we'll close it out.
Okay. Would you give me a bet at plus 1,100 for my Fail Mary? Would you do that?
No, it's not. That's not.
Okay, pretty please.
No. I mean, you can check it out on FanDuel and see if they'll give you there. No. Rules are rules.
All right. Because I out of all the stuff that they had on the book, right, without making your own parlay and everything, the one that was most palatable to me was DJ Dallas first TD score. That was plus 1,100, and I really wanted to sneak that through with you guys, but I see how it is. That's fine. So I came up with an alternate. Good. And I played with the parlay thing for the first time. If you guys haven't done that on DraftKings, it's the little button at the top, SG, because I always wondered how you guys did it. And I will say, though, I would put in a third bet with the same odds or similar odds to other bets, and it didn't go up as much as some of the, I don't understand how it all works.
It is a little funky, right? Like, you start playing with it, like, wait a second, this is like a plus 400 on its own. You put it into the bet, and it moves the thing like 150. Like, what how does that math work? It's like, why wouldn't that jack it up further, right? Yeah, kind of weird.
I don't know. And so I played with a bunch of different things, and this is what I finally came up with. And a 5-way is too much for me, Clinton. I'm mid 40s now. 5 ways too much. But a 3-way, I might still have enough energy for, exactly. And I think the Seahawks too. So basically mine is anytime touchdown score, Deontay Foreman. Anytime touchdown score, DK. And then the Seahawks under 2.5 TDs. Ooh. And that gets me to 1,400.
Okay.
And the reason I think that is, I do think that the possessions are going to be limited in this game. I think both the offenses are going to be able to move it. I think the Panthers are going to do that on the ground. And I think they're going to do that pretty methodically. And I just think time of possession for the Seahawks is going to be a difficult one in this game. I could see him scoring 2 TDs, 2 field goals, and ending up at 20 points, like, pretty easily.
Yeah, no, I hope not. I hope not. Geno's been racking up 2 touchdowns a game. I think he's got the most in the league with 10 games now. I think he's had 2 touchdowns or more. Yeah. And then to not get another one would be upsetting. It would be upsetting to me. But hey, it's a dollar scratcher. That's what the Fail Marys are for. I like I like the touchdown parts. I think we're gonna score. I actually think we're gonna score 4 to 5 touchdowns this game. And it's solely because I truly think we're going to just be like, we need to outpace this team. And we find a way to limit their runs because we come out aggressive, and we shall see if that comes true or not, or if it's just.
I can't believe in this run defense. I can't. I'm sorry. I mean,
I hear you.
13 games in now? Yeah, it's 13 or 12 games in. Yeah. I mean, eight of them have been dumpster fires for the run defense. So I'll play the odds on that one. And look, if I have to suffer through bad run D, I might as well make some money on it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was kind of like your first bet. Your first bet was, going at, what was that? So you were going at Foreman,
alternate rush yards, 75 plus. Yeah.
Makes sense. I totally get the, hey, if you're going to lean into that, then why not? But I'm going to have to say on that one, I hope it doesn't come true. I hope the DK part does, of course, but I want more touchdowns than 2.5. I want 3+. In fact, I want 4. But all right, here we go. So this is now Wilson's. He's got a parlay at plus 1,500. Seattle minus 3.5. The Goodwin touchdown. So he's doubling. That's an anytime touchdown from Goodwin. Carolina. Now he's got Carolina under 1.5 touchdowns. Race to 25. So Seattle's the first team to get to 25. And that gets him plus 1,500. So Seahawks minus 3.5. Goodwin catches a touchdown. Carolina does not score 2 touchdowns. And the Seahawks are the first team to 25. In Adam's world just there, Seattle may not even get to 25, but you're going to want them to land in that band. So you do get that nice bet for you. Yeah. So I like how you're finding that some of those bets are even around the band itself to say, well, I believe in that third down bet. So what are some other scenarios that happen,
Right.
if that happens. So, which is all good. All right, I will quickly.
Out of that
Yeah,
Wilson bet.
yeah.
Out of that Wilson
Yeah,
bet.
let's diagnose.
Which of those things feels the most unlikely to you? Because one
Oh,
stands out to me.
Baxter. Yeah, no, I mean, unlikely is just the Goodwin touchdown. I just think that's the most
Yep.
unlikely.
Yep.
But
That's how I look at that one too. I'm
yeah,
like, I mean, once in every 4 games, sure. And he just had one.
yeah,
So
the Goodwin
I don't know.
touchdown is the one, but he's also doing a little double dipping, right? His third down bet is a Goodwin anytime touchdown. So he's like, hey, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the Fail Mary. Might as well
Oh
double up
yeah,
there.
nothing
Little
like
stack.
doubling down on something that's fairly unlikely.
little Wilson stack there for him. The other ones I could all see happening. I hope we keep Carolina under 2 touchdowns. That'd be awesome. Not
Totally
sure we do. I don't think it'll happen, but that'd be a great day if we do. So with that, let's run through quickly here. So I'll go all my bets, then all Wilson, then Adam, all yours. All right.
Yep.
So I got Geno over basically he throws 260 yards or more at -115. I'm in. I got Myers scoring over 6.5 points, so 7, and that's at -130. And I got Seattle. I teased the money line, or teased the spread to -6.5 to pay me +135. I do think we win by a touchdown or more. I think we go up by double digits or 8 or 9, something like that late, in the fourth quarter, and we seal it. Let's see if that happens. And then I've got this Fail Mary parlay, Seattle -3.5, over 44.5, Geno over 280 throwing the ball, Tyler and DK, DK over 75, Tyler over 80. Again, I call that one. The stars come out at night, and that pays me exactly 1,200. Adam, I'll get yours actually now. You got Foreman over 75 yards. You teased that up, rushing to give you +130. Very possible. Pinheiro, field goals just over 1.5 to pay +130. That's my favorite bet of yours, by the way. I really like that bet. So 2 field goals from the Panthers on the day, and you're making money. You took the band of 21 to 30 for Seattle total points at +135. And then your parlay, you gave the little hint on DraftKings. You hit the SG parlay, which is same game parlay toggle. Touchdown for Foreman, touchdown for DK. Seattle under 3 touchdowns, so 2.5 touchdowns on the day or less, and +1,400. Then we got Wilson, Seattle -4 at -105. Geno over 300 at +190. Then the Wilson 300, Goodwin anytime touchdown, +370. And finally his Fail Mary, which we just went over, people. So go rewind for 2 seconds. You could hear it. So Wilson was not able to join us, but we were able to pick it up. We did have the guest star of Ali come in today. If Ali had to say which one is his favorite bet, Ali, which one do you think he'd go for? Does Ali go big and go home? What's Ali's vibe all about?
Well, he's a very excitable dog. So I think that he would go with probably your Fail Mary. Like, I think you'd be pretty excited about some fireworks and, big things happening. Plus, he's a young 8-month-old puppy. So, he's got, unreasonable hope still in his life, like you do.
It's not, he's not totally jaded by society and life just yet at 8 months in, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best qualities of dogs in general, and pretty much animals in general, is like just you don't get jaded by life, and you just get to hopefully keep on living a great mountain dog life out there in Montana. So if we all could be in the mind of Ali and the hearts of Ali, and I know we can't, that's not how life works as humans, but if we could carry that with us a little bit, once a day or in our weeks, I think we'd all be a little bit happier, right? Just to live a life like Ali and think that way, which is a lot of fun. But so that's usually positivity, living in the moment, being fired up, and being happy to be around good people. So
basically the Pete Carroll way, right?
That's right. That is 100% right. And I look to live that as I head out from Detroit tomorrow morning, land at SeaTac. I'll do my my best cannonball run to get to the stadium on time. I believe I'll make it there on time. Look forward to hanging with Brandon. Bummed that you can't make it, but understand why. And we will be doing a post game. What's the pizza? I always want to say Pizza Planet, but I know it's not Pizza Planet.
Pizza Professional.
Pizza Professional. I keep wanting to say Pizza Planet. So
just this is how you'll remember it from here on out. A professional would remember that, and you can't seem to remember it. So Like, if you want to level up your
Gotcha.
podcasting
So
game,
if that's
see,
my,
you won't forget it now.
so my mnemonic, device is I am basically an amateur, but now
Yes.
I'll remember that it's to not be that any longer. Be professional. We'll be at Pizza Professional post game. So y'all out there who are listening, who are going to be down at Lumen or just live in the area, you should get down to Pizza Professional. See how this works. Post haste, and I think it's just north of the stadium is how I believe. Do you know where it is?
Sure.
Geolocation.
Yeah, that sounds great. It's only a few blocks away.
Sure.
Knowing here's the thing, Clinton, like you can throw me out in the woods just about anywhere out west and like I don't get lost.
Yeah.
I can tell you which way is what, all that stuff. You throw me in the middle of a city, I don't care which one it is. I'm basically like a child. Like I need Siri so badly in the city. So you could tell me it was southwest of the stadium. I'd be like, yes,
Sure, absolutely is. Yeah. This is good.
Totally.
Go do Southwest. Yeah. There's and then just in cities in general, there's cities that make sense when it comes to mapping, like Manhattan. They're like, ooh, let's do a giant grid. This seems simple. And then there's like Boston, where they were like, we're creating Boston. We don't know what a grid system is yet. So here you go. Like everything is just it's very different getting around Boston versus New York.
Missoula's extra fun. There was two dudes that helped design the layout of the city from the start. One wanted to go like true north-south for the grid, and the other one wanted to do magnetic north-south.
Oh my god!
So there's this whole section of town called the slant streets.
That
awesome. Looks like, if you look at it from Google Earth, it looks like a glitch in the Matrix. It really does. It's so bizarre, and it screws up the entire city.
I love how like they just couldn't come to a conclusion, and they like it's a great like urban
they just
planning.
Started on opposite sides of the river. They're like, screw that guy.
Yeah, it's like
this will never connect.
The Continental Railroad, like, and then you finally meet somewhere and wherever the hell they met, right? And they're like, ooh, this is off.
Yeah, unbelievable.
These won't connect. That's actually I would hope that somebody makes a Netflix or some documentary about the Missoula. I don't know what you title it, but just the fact that
Road Wars.
Road War. Hey, listen, that's got something there, man. I think that has an audience, but there's got to be a story. There's got to be, I could only imagine these two gentlemen getting up in front of whatever it might be, town halls and whoever they got to talk to at that time. Yeah. How old is Missoula? A couple hundred, 150. What's the age of Missoula? 200 years?
Early 1900s or late 1800s, right in there.
Late 1800s.
Right
okay,
about
wow.
Yeah,
that old.
Everything out west is pretty new, man. Like,
yeah, well, that's still, if you're saying late 1800s, that's still like 1790. America didn't start till 1776. That's pretty old compared to it's right in there.
90, like right in there, like right about to turn of the century, 1900.
Yeah. Oh, 19. Okay. So 1890s. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. That makes more sense.
So yeah, like 130, 120 years old, something like that. It's one of the older towns. I think the oldest town in Montana is Stevensville, and it's like 1880 something.
Stevensville. Stevensville's a joke. But Stevensville can go kick
Tell
rocks.
Me about it.
It's all Missoula.
Yeah.
Missoula with the slant cities and the whole thing. And here's how we'll wrap it here, Adam. What I want to see is, hey, DK Metcalf 8 for 8 last time. I want to see some DK. We talk about slant city. I want to see some DK Metcalf slants over the middle, and let's see him take a big one to the house. So my Fail Mary jumps, and we're jumping in the stands at Lumen Field, and we have a good old time as we hopefully take this thing to 8-5, my man.
It's happening. I really feel like if this team's going to be serious about the postseason at all,
have to win.
You got to have this one.
Yeah,
you have to. That's just it. You cannot go 0-4 to the NFC South.
No.
You cannot lose this very winnable game at home. I mean, it's Sam Darnold and an interim coaching company. Like, it's almost like giving up a crap ton of points to the Rams JV team. It would be that unacceptable. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We shall see. It is absolutely must win, and it's gonna be fun. Hey, this was supposed to be a throwaway year, right? So, and I'm not one to be like, oh, everything's great, because it's not. No, now that we have a chance to go 8-5, make the playoffs, go do it. By the way, I can't stand those arguments. Would you rather lose out now, or like no, like I realize that we are likely not Super Bowl bound. I'm not a dummy. I could see how we play defense. However, you get in and you don't know what could freaking happen. And we got the Broncos pick. So it's just like, just go, just Thelma and Louise this thing, hit the freaking pedal.
So here's a question. So if you did not have the 2 Broncos picks, the first and the second, would you be so gung ho, get to the playoffs, win a bunch?
Yeah, that's how I'm wired. It's go win,
Yeah.
go win. And it's because number one, we're going to be somewhere in the 20s picking, right? So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, if we pick 31st with the chip or even like get to the NFC Championship game and you pick 27th versus 22nd, whatever, let's just be good at drafting first and foremost. And just, I am just the believer of, hey, we have a top 5 NFL quarterback. He is legitimately a top 5 dude right now. And anything can happen. Injuries happen, weird stuff happens. You get a weather game. You don't know what happens in the playoffs, but you got to be there. You got to be dancing to
All right.
potentially get homecoming king.
Okay, you did bring up one thing, and I know you got to wrap up here.
That's
So
okay.
I'm curious. So you don't have the Broncos picks, and you don't have Geno. Now, do you want to lose out?
Probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well,
that's where I'm at. I'm like, well, okay. I think we have our quarterback in the next 2 years. Pretty easy.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather spend that draft capital somewhere else. And we can do that while winning games. So it's like having your cake and eating it too.
Exactly.
That's the best part about this season. And I'm excited, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. And with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Wilson is a loser.